What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we'll be reacting to the greatest motor race ever. This has been requested a couple of times, so I'm gonna get round to it. I'm excited to get into this. I don't know which race this is obviously going to be talking about, so I'm looking forward to it. But before we get into the video, make sure you subscribe. Over half of you that watch my videos aren't subscribed. Just hit the bell. It takes 2 seconds, and if you'd like to become a member on this channel and receive exclusive perks, you can also do that by hitting the join button down below.
Bathurst at the moment. You can do that on our Facebook page
2014.
or on our website tbs.com.au.
It's October here in Bathurst, New South Wales, Australia. It's a couple hours outside of Sydney, but it's not really a small town. Sure, there are no large sports franchises here.
Kangaroos. Only thing I'm interested in. What is it?
Mount Panorama.
Okay.
The twists and bends in this place have etched it into the history of motor racing. A cultural icon in Australia, the challenges this place presents make it a favourite amongst drivers, and highly regarded as one of the best racetracks in the world. The trek across the top of the mountain is electric, all the way from the cutting.
It does look like quite a quirky track. the twists and turns, the hills in it.
Well.
Oh my! Whoa! Oh!
Alright, so basic gist of things, don't crash here, capiche? Of course,
Yeah.
because all of this is...
I mean, that's got to be quite difficult on that track.
And it's not run with open wheelers or GT cars or stock cars or whatever.
Supercars.
These things. This is the Supercars Championship.
Yeah.
And I know what you're thinking. These aren't supercars. And you'd be right, but hey, I'll let you in on a little secret. It's just a name. Skipping over them minor details, however, this touring car series is often regarded as one of the best racing series in the world.
Oh, that's a bold statement.
The race is set at 161 laps, which amounts to 1,000 kilometers of racing.
So that's got to be like 8 hours.
Upon whether it rains, whether there is carnage,
What?
or if a f***ing tree falls on the track. But
What?
6 hours solo in these cars is considered a form of torture, right up there with listening to someone spout Bill Cosby jokes. So for this race specifically, there are 2 drivers assigned to each car. You'd have...
I was going to say, surely there's got to be more than one driver here.
One of them is missing.
Who's missing? What's happened?
It's at this point where you know that something has gone catastrophically wrong. On Saturday morning practice, the brakes on the number 2 Holden Racing Team Commodore had failed. With Warren Luff at the wheel, he slammed into another car and threw them both into the barriers.
Yikes.
The damage to the red machine was substantial, so even though they had a day to repair it, this crash knocked them out of the race before it even began. Despite looking like a 6'4" farmer, Shane Van Gisbergen is one of the best drivers in the entire world. And that is in no way an exaggeration. Put him in anything and he will make it.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about him until I watched his greatest NASCAR debut video from this channel, and then I was like, wow, he can race.
That start was legit. He just so
Was
happened
it?
to time it absolutely perfectly. But of course, everything a Red Bull car does is sus, am I right? So the race...
Yeah, I was going to say, do Red Bulls ever get penalised? No, so...
as they were about to encounter one of the most vicious obstacles that this place can throw at you.
And what is that?
Of course...
A kangaroo!
more weird happened.
What on earth
It wasn't bad
happened
enough
there?
they started from last, but Paul the Dude Morris decided to destroy their race here by slamming into the wall at turn 2. It sucks really for the car's main driver, Chaz Moster, a dude who is proving to be stupidly fast and one of the best young talents in Australia today. He had already become something of a cult hero through being able to win in what was pretty much his first ever race in a V8 supercar last year. Here he is today, in 2014, with the factory Ford team as one of the fastest drivers on the grid. Meanwhile, his teammate was one of the slowest drivers around today. Despite having a long and decently successful career, and being handy behind the wheel before the advent of colour TV, it had been a long time since he had tasted success at this level. And here he was, stuck in the wall in his last attempt at the race, and just completely killed their chances. To be fair though, it wasn't all down to him, because at that corner, this was happening. The track was being torn up by the cars, and by the heat that day, because...
Oh, I was going to say, how on earth did the track get like that?
Elsewhere on the circuit, the medical car heard this and shed its lights as a mark of respect,
What?
or maybe as an act of protest for what was
Everything was coming apart.
back underway and we were up and running. But not for long.
Great. I knew it wasn't going to be for long.
360 Nissan was buried in the wall at turn 2. Yeah,
Why is everybody getting stuck in the wall?
this just added another shattered dream for him. And with the damage to the car, that was pretty much
That is way too much damage, yeah.
guy who decided to tear half his car
Oh
off. Going through
my
turn 2,
God.
the pace car was out again,
Everybody's
which
hitting
gave
the
ample
wall.
time for them to repair their cars.
I mean, am I surprised? Once I saw the track, I was like, okay, a lot of people are going to end up in the wall, so...
But the race would get back underway for about 3 seconds.
I was going to say, another problem. Not even halfway through the race yet.
And 1 lap later, there was even more missing off the car.
Oh my god! The car just needs to be out at this point.
Part of the track where the car...
Look at all the debris back up the hill there.
Is it the norm to drift this close to the wall and emerge unharmed?
I was going to say, should I be surprised again when I saw the track? I was like,
Last thing they needed was another safety car.
Let me guess.
But that's exactly
There was
what they
another
would
safety
get.
car. Oh my god. How many is that now?
Back underway again, and for a while, not much happened up front, but behind, a lot was happening. Remember that
Was
number
there?
14 car that hit a kangaroo and went for a trip
Yeah.
to the beach? They were back on the lead lap.
Were
Remember
they?
that 360 Nissan who hit the wall twice? They're back on the lead lap. Remember
They're
Jamie
still in the
Whincup and
race.
the number 1 Red Bull Commodore who went through hell and creation despite his unbelievable driving? He was back on the lead lap. The number 6 of
Okay.
Chaz Mostert was also up there.
So who's
Somehow,
gonna
it
win
seems
it
that
then?
anyone whose race was over 3 laps ago was back in the game. That's how this race be sometimes. That's why it's so great. The teams began to settle into the groove. The strategies were starting to play out, and now they were about to bring their drivers in for the final push to the line. Everyone knew there was going to be another safety car, although nobody quite knew when.
Yeah,
Although
when
the
is it
Volvo
gonna
of Robert
happen?
Dahlgren made it quite easy to guess when he slammed into the wall and ended their race. The pit stops were still on though. It is the logical thing to do in that moment. It was still a complete free-for-all as to what was going to happen for the last 40 laps. Although, unfortunately for some, they wouldn't even see that out.
What?
In the cruelest
happened
twist
there?
of fortune, the Bottle Falcon ground to a halt when the alternator decided not to alternate stuff anymore.
Great.
After being favourites on strategy, they were out. Over electricity. That's the thing about this race. Every year there will be favourites, but a lot of the time they'll end up on the side of the road.
They've just got terrible luck, is that what I'm hearing?
You just gotta stay out of trouble, because eventually
Yeah.
at this
Doesn't
place,
matter where you
it's gonna
start.
find you.
It's where you finish. Oh, in the wall. Great.
After dominating the race early on, Scott McLaughlin crashed into the wall with 40 laps to go, running wide onto the marbles and crashing into the same place that his teammate did. He was out there
So
because
now
Shane
what's
Van
gonna
Gisbergen
happen?
was beginning to charge, and when the race resumed after safety car 509, he
SVG's going
continued
at
to
it.
do so. He was passing
Wow,
with
that was a beautiful
authority,
move.
and it seemed that now he was odds-on favourite to win. There was still quite a lot to play out, but he was a freaking rocket out there. He climbed past all of them and was now leading the race. Down the pack
So is he going to win it?
was happening. There were drivers being told to save fuel. There were drivers being told to go for broke. There was jostling for position everywhere,
Oh
and
my
everyone
God,
wanted
wow.
a shot. There was still one more pit stop left for everyone, pace car or not. Paul Dumbrell almost binned car number 1, and James
Oh.
Moffat almost minced car 360 as well. The battle was heating up, and everyone wanted a piece. Although some people were perhaps a little bit too vigorous.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, that's crazy.
Okay, that was too much of a scent. Maz
Yeah,
was trying
that
to pass
was.
from Auckland, New Zealand from back there.
What the
marshals
hell?
attended to the number 4 Mercedes of
Poor bloke has landed upside down because of that stupid move.
There is a reason why I bought this one up.
Oh,
When you stall in one of
my.
these things, normally you just start the thing up again and roar away. But for Shane, his starter motor had failed, and it wouldn't be repaired again for another 10
failed.
minutes, by which time he had
10
been thrown
minutes?
3 laps down and out of the race. Another favourite for the
What?
race, gone.
Gone,
And
so
again,
what
over
now?
electricity. For those that had survived, for now, it was getting interesting. When the race resumed, it was Winterbottom leading Whincup.
It's just like survival of the fittest.
Leading Winter, oh, I see.
Oh,
Well, that was freaking random. And a complete bottle job. This ain't no time for beach shenanigans, you freaking melt. Actually,
I thought he was going to come onto the track and hit him.
not only did they not make a pit stop, but for a while now, they had been intense rivals. They battled for victory last year. They locked horns at stages this year. And now here they are, 8 laps from the end, and eternal glory at stake. They were now ahead of Lowndes and Mostert, both of whom did make a pit stop. But pit stop or not, they were all racing hard. Everywhere they would go, they would be right out sideways. There was everything to play for. And heading into the last corner on that lap, Whincup dived down the inside and took the lead from Winterbottom.
Battle or hit each other here?
Any one of these guys can win, just so long as they can keep themselves composed.
Yeah, I guess they didn't. Oh no, he's gone round.
They did not. The spin ruined the race for Winterbottom and Lowndes. Frosty went down the pack and began to conserve fuel just to make it to the line, whilst Lowndes received a drive-through penalty for trying to send Frosty into the Shadow Realm. 2 more crowd favourites taken out of the race in the blink of an eye, which meant that up front, it was Whincup leading from Mostert. And the fact that this was happening was nothing short of incredible. These 2 guys had started the race from the very back of the grid. One had been in the wall. Again,
it's not where you start, it's where you finish.
And then a question began to emerge. How much fuel does he have?
Oh no, not the fuel question.
Kept on repeating the same message over and over again. Save fuel. The problem for him was that while they were telling...
Is that how the race is going to end? Because of fuel? That's going to be really stupid. After all that, I could have just Googled it.
Mostert was right there.
Oh, the final lap. Is it going to be a battle, or is he just going to overtake him?
The 8th hour of the Bathurst 1000. And this is what it came down to. The kid versus the goat. There is no greater challenge, but he didn't care. A win was right there for the taking, and he was all over the reigning champion. Up and down the mountain, he looked everywhere he could, while Whincup desperately tried to save as much fuel as he could. The crowd were on their feet and on edge. Holden versus Ford, the age-old rivalry. Heading down the hill, Mostert only needed one chance.
Here we go. Oh, and he's done it. Simple overtake there.
What a drive. What a drive. This was...
Yeah, I mean, from the back of the grid. Fair play.
It was one of the great Bathurst drives. And for Paul Morris to win on his 22nd and last attempt at the great race, to win it all, was a complete fairy tale. They crossed the line to win the 2014 Bathurst 1000.
You got to be so annoyed if you get overtaken on the last lap.
60 Nissan finishing in 2nd place. The car that got whacked twice and
went down a lap,
the other... They finished 2nd? Yes, they did. Thanks to Whincup completely running out of fuel before the end of the lap. He lost positions to the 360 Nissan, the 222 Holden, and the number 9.
So he ran out of fuel.
For Paul Morris, it was a fitting end to it all. After 22 years of pain, he finally got his dub on his final attempt at the mountain. They only led one lap, but it was the one that counted most. And then you think about the story of Moffat and Douglas, buried in the wall twice, yet never gave up. And they finished...
Yeah, I was gonna say as well. They're literally half their car is bloody taped up and they finished 2nd.
The greatest motor race of all time.
Wow, a big fat bold statement there. It's crazy. There was so many safety cars there, so many crashes. That track is insane. I've never even, like, I've heard of supercars before obviously, but that track in itself, never heard of it. So seeing that track and then that race, it looks very entertaining, and that race did look very entertaining. So yeah, big thank you to people who requested this video. And with that being said, if you have any other videos that you'd like me to react to, drop them in the comments. I'm working my way through everybody's suggestions at the moment. If you did want to check out any of my other socials or become a Patreon member and get early access to videos like this, then you can do all of that down below. And if you want to become a member on this channel and receive exclusive perks, you can also do that by hitting the join button down below. But I hope you enjoyed today's reaction, and I will catch you next time for the next one. Bye!